Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Year of the Batman. Today's BTAS episode is the Clock King, and I really don't know how else to describe him, but I'm pretty sure the Clock King just has autism because his whole thing is like he is on because he at first he's just like some random guy, and he's on like a very strict schedule. He has his entire day planned out. There's only certain parts of the day where he does certain things, like very OCD about time. So one day he's on the train and he's talking to Councilman Hill, who's Mayor Hill, but it's like in the past. And he's talking to him, and Hill's like, dude, you kind of seem a little on edge. What's up? And he's like, I've got a big court hearing today. My company's getting sued, and it's just really important. And Hill's like, well, dude, you're nervous as can be. If you're acting nervous at the court hearing, the judge might suspect you of actually being involved in something. So why don't you just like, go off schedule, like take your coffee break maybe a little later and just take some time to unwind for you. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty sound advice. And it was coming from a place of like sincerity, it seemed. So he does that and he takes his coffee break at like 3:15 and excuses himself to the park. And this is where he loses me because he brings all his like super important court documents for his lawyer with him, and he gets like hit in the chest with like a volleyball by some kids, and the papers they're flying everywhere because of the wind, and it gets like uh some of it gets blown into a fountain, and then a dog scares him into the fountain. He gets all wet and stuff, and that causes him to be late and wet, and the case gets like he gets found guilty, and the company's found or like I think it's like $20 million to whoever's suing him. And I'm like, dude, that's on you. You are a fully grown adult, okay? You should know if you're going off kilter, maybe not bring these super duper important documents with you. Uh, and just like you, you think I don't know it it makes it seem like, oh, it's Mayor Hill's fault because he's the one that suggested it. And it's just like, no, you're a full grown adult. Just because he's mentioned it doesn't mean you have to. And fucking you could have, it was just a suggestion, you could have taken a coffee break a little earlier. I would have done earlier, so that way if something did go wrong, which it did, you would have been screwed over by it. But whatever. So it's 7 years later, and Mayor Hill, he's like recampaigning for a re-election. So um, him he's on his way driving to the campaign, and Bruce is in the car above him with Alfred driving, and Alfred gets into a wreck with one guy, and it's because all the traffic lights are out of whack, and like Gotham downtown has become like a standstill, and everybody's around the area. And then the Clock King, he um, releases a big like, and I mean big, like I'm talking like 4 story by 4 story big. I guess it's not a poster, but just some kind of big cloth of Mayor Hill, and he's like drawn with like a silly mustache and like googly eyes, and it's like it's time for change, and they're all the citizens of Gotham are like laughing at Hill, like, oh haha, it's your fault, Mayor Hill, because the traffic stopped. I'm like, he's actively in the traffic stop with you guys, like but I don't think he has anything to do with the traffic stopping. But then again, the people of Gotham City are they're just something else. Um, so Batman, Bruce, he was like, hey, what the hell's that? And he like goes up to the building while changing into his Batman outfit, and he's like, hey, what the hell? Don't do that. And the Clock King's like, hey, hey, what's up, Batman? I'm just gonna head out now. So he like just casually walks away, like he like throws a clock bomb as a distraction. And he doesn't even like hustle. He's just like, And then Batman cuts him off, and he's like, "What the hell? I was talking to you." And he's like, "Yeah, about that." And he like jumps off the building because he like perfectly timed the subway, which I really like about the Clock King because he's just so eerily calm and collected because with how obsessed he is with timing and whatnot, he just knows the exact right things to do and whatnot. Um, so Batman and Alfred, they're like trying to look into him. They eventually find his old hideout, which is his old company demolished, but it's hidden by like a piece of rubble, and there's just clocks and whatnot surrounding it. And he finds, oh hey, he's like absolutely obsessed with this one clock tower. Weirdly enough, and I'm like, huh, I wonder why. It's almost like that's probably his fucking hideout. If you have a criminal who has more than like half of his articles are about a said building, maybe said building has some kind of importance. So there's another re-election campaign going on. Mayor Hill, he's like debuting a new subway automatic system, and I'm just like, yeah, that fits like to a normal politician, delivering like this huge, big gift to the public right before an election. God forbid you do anything like during it. Yes, it is during his cycle of being a mayor, but like, you couldn't have done it a little earlier. Whatever. So he's waiting for the train for all the Gotham citizens to see, but it's running behind. And then on the loudspeaker, the Clock King's like, "Hey, hey, hey, Mayor Hill, hey, fuck you!" And he causes like two trains to collide together, which erupts in this huge chaos. During the uproar, Mayor Hill gets kidnapped by Clock King, and I'm just thinking, dude, you're like low 50 or like high 50s, low 60s. How are you doing all this? Um, I will say also, he is in like this huge like warpath to bring down Mayor Hill because of his like advice. I would have killed the kids that threw the fucking like volleyball at you that got all your papers messed up, and I also would have killed the dog that forced you to jump into the fountain. That's just me, but I feel like all like he spent 7 years planning all this. I'm like, I would have killed those kids and the dog. That's just me, but whatever. So Batman, he figures out, oh hey, maybe that clock tower where like half of the articles were at his hideout. Maybe that's where he's keeping them. Which obviously, yeah, it is. So he's got him. The Clock King has got Mayor Hill hooked up to the hour handle because it's like 3:15 and it's about to pass. And he's like, "Hey, hey Hill, I've got this figured out to fuck you." And Hill's like, "What?" And I'm sorry, I battled there. He's like, "Hey, at 3:15, you're gonna squish because that's the time you told me to take a coffee break, and it screwed my life over." And Hill's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, it was like your like lawyer team that was suing me." And Hill's like, I genuinely have no say in any of what went down. Why are you doing all this?" And valid. Um, he's just petty. Honestly, I really feel like this was just the Clock King's way of excusing himself for like not knowing how to be a grown fucking adult and like taking the proper precautions. He's like, no, it's the marriage fault. Even though I listened to him, it's his fault because he put it in my head and he's bad. So yeah. Um, and it's kind of funny. He's like, at 3:15, the minute hand will hit the hour hand. I'm like, that's not how a fucking clock works, dipshit. At the very worst, like he's gonna get hit and he's gonna lose an arm and a leg, but he's not gonna like get squished. He's just gonna be in an immense pain. So, and it is weird because it's also looking like he is going to be squished. So I'm like, did you fucking like switch like the handles in the clock or something? Because that's not how a clock works. Um, so Batman gets there, and then there's this big fight in the clock tower, and it's really cool because the Clock King has like studied Batman, and he figured out how long it takes him to punch. So he's like calmly, uh, like going to and fro and avoiding all his punches, and he's like very calm and collected. He's like not out of breath at all. Um, but then Batman does trick him to use his like he has like a clock hand that he uses as a sword, and he tricks Clock King into stabbing the point in the clock tower, which in it then causes the entire clock tower to fucking fall apart because he hit like the exact good pressure point. And I'm thinking, dude, you put your little sword thing in gears like the size of humans and cars. Like, how powerful is the metal that is your sword? So the Clock King, he is like, it looks like he gets buried under some clocks, but he's pretty calm and collecting. We don't see a body, so he's probably alive. And Batman saves Mayor Hill, and things are back to normal. So rating wise for that episode, the Clock King has some really stupid motivations, and his plan is also stupid, and the mechanics of the plan is also stupid. Now, how he himself is carried, he's very calm and collected, and his timing is absolutely impeccable, so that's really cool. But there's just so much stupidity in this episode and so much pettiness, like super duper pettiness. Like, this is more petty than the Crane episode. Like, genuinely, Mayor Hill did not deserve any of this. And it's like, dude, once again, you're an adult. Let's be a big boy, put on our big boy pants, and not taking important court documents out where it's exposed to like the wind and like I don't know. I'm just over it. So there's cool stuff in this episode, but a lot of dumb stuff in this episode. A lot of dumb stuff. Um, so rating wise, wasn't necessarily that bad, but it's just annoying. I think I'll actually give this a 2 out of 7. Just because he had so much going for him, but it's just, I don't know. It was a lot of missteps in this episode. But yeah, that was the Clock King.